Welcome back to the Rock and Roll channel. Got a special guest, my friend TJ Pittinger from Double Fries No Slaw, College Football Addiction, makes the rounds on many shows. And I said, can you please come in and talk about the circus that's known as Florida State football and not the big one across from Dick Hauser Stadium? But we were just talking before air that it is so tough to talk now because it's the same narrative for over 2 years now of we lose, we can't execute it all, and I can't even call him a lame duck coach because we don't know what his status is with the school. So that's why I refuse to use that term right now.
Yeah.
It feels like it, but we just don't know. What's your take right now? I was asking you, and you gave me an interesting look when I said, name a fan base that's had to endure what we're going through. And I'm not even talking about the snub. I'm talking about the last 2 years, the futility, and still having the coach involved. I mean, what's going through your mind with this whole situation? The best way you can describe it.
Yeah, I don't want to give away the whole article because he did a lot of research and did a lot of work on it. But you're exactly right that no fan bases had to go through this. Brendan Sonnone of Knowles 24/7 posted an article this morning about
really?
what FSU is allowing is unprecedented. And when you look at the 14 programs that have won a national championship during the BCS era and beyond, Florida State's obviously one of them, winning 2 titles in that time frame. It's the other ones that you think of: Alabama, LSU, Michigan, Clemson, Florida. Miami won 1, Texas, Georgia, all these programs, right? Florida State is the only program that over a 6-year span has as bad of a winning percentage as they do. And I don't want to give away his whole article. You should certainly go.
I didn't even know that much about the article. I just thought about it this morning when I woke up.
Yeah, like Florida State. Now, we'll talk. I'm sure you're going to ask, or we'll talk at some point about like what they're going to do, big picture. And I mean, I do think they move on from him this year. So, but whether they move on from him or not, he could win the last 3 games and then win a bowl game too, and his record would still be over his 6-year stretch from the 14 teams that have won titles from 1998 until now. It is unprecedented. There has never been a situation where a program that you would consider, right, like the top programs in the sport are the programs that have won from the BCS until now, right? Like those are the most relevantly recent national programs. Like Nebraska's not in there, right? Because their titles were before that. So Notre Dame's not in there because their titles are from before that. But the programs that have had success, we're the only one that is, I mean, ultimately, if they make a decision at the end of the year compared to like right now, it's not a big difference, but they're the only ones that are allowing it at this moment. And that is what it feels like. Now we can get into all the reasons for why they're allowing it and all the thoughts and all this stuff, but ultimately they're allowing the worst coaching tenure of any major program that we've ever seen. And you remember how bad Florida's been recently? You know how bad Miami's been at times? You know how bad some of these programs have truly been? We're worse, and we're allowing it to be worse at Florida State.
That's what I'm saying is because someone could say, well, he did release a statement after Stanford. That was one of the, in my opinion, I'm not speaking for you. It was horrible how it was handled, how it was done. I remember you came out on a YouTube short talking about it. It was just, at least if you're going to do it, have it done like Wisconsin, keeping fickle. I'm sure it wasn't popular, but at least it was a nice professional letterhead. Well done. Ours looked like a text that he just convoluted, a long run-on sentence and sent out. So we've been insulted in a lot of ways now. That's what upset me. That's how I feel. I know they care behind the scenes. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's how it comes across. I know I trust Peter Collins. I trust these guys. I think they know what they're doing. I mean, look how they handled the lawsuit brilliantly. So I'm sure they have a plan. It's just how it comes across. And silence yesterday, I think, was worse. That's what got me yesterday.
Mike could win the next 3 games. And listen, I told Richie this yesterday on the show, so I hate to repeat myself, but I said Florida State is not good enough to beat these 3 teams. However, the 3 teams they play at the end of the year are bad enough to lose to Florida State. And so they could win these next 3 games, not because they're great, not because they trust Mike, not because there's upward trajectory toward 2026, just because they're playing 3 awful teams. They could win the next 3 games. And if they do win the next 3 games, does that mean they're going to keep Mike because they finished 7-5? I mean, I think that should be a concern of every fan, is that ultimately what happens in these last 3 games should not matter. Like, we know who Mike Norvell is. He could win these next 3 games and he would still have the worst record of any coach over a 6-year span of those teams we were talking about, those 14 teams that have won national titles since the BCS came into effect. And so these last 3 games don't even, I mean, they matter, right? Like, if you're a fan, you want to see your team win, whatever. Like, I'll cheer for us to beat Florida. I'll cheer for us. I might go to Raleigh. Like, you know, I don't want to see them lose games when I'm there. But at the same time, if you know kind of that this isn't the guy, I mean, what are you waiting for, right? Like, I think when you look at the performances, like, you go on the road and you lose to Stanford, you lose to Clemson in a game you were just not competitive in for the entire thing. Like that, if they'd have lost this game 34-31 in a fun, high-scoring game, Clemson's got a good offense, whatever, I don't think anybody would feel that much better, but you'd certainly feel better than you did knowing that you were out of this thing at halftime. And so I don't know, man. I want to have confidence in the administration. I want to have confidence in Peter Collins and President McCullough and Michael Alford and all these people. But at the same time, I'm just like, man, you're allowing it. You're allowing somebody to. Florida State is a national embarrassment, and they have been for 2 years now. Every national talking head, every media member that's out there just absolutely rails on how piss poor this program is. And if that's not enough to make that, I mean, their own fans have been saying it. And then they own, like me and you, like the people that talk about the team, we say it and the boosters say it. But like, if the national guys don't get you to finally wake up to like the crap show that it is, I don't know that. I don't know, man. I think it's a worrisome thing. I mean, I would never cheer for Florida State to lose, but you better hope they don't go through, you know, down this last section. They might keep him. They might keep him.
It's not good. They're looking to. That's what's upsetting me, is the stuff that was hammered home about Willie. And I hate to compare the two different situations. I get it. But, man, like, we hated how the players acted before games with Willie.
Yeah.
We saw it Saturday night. You were there. I saw it on Twitter. Edwin Joseph and those guys dancing in front of the Clemson fans. Stuff we chastised Willie over, his players doing, happened. Mike gets a pass for that because he's a nice guy. The narrative, like you said, laughing stock on national media. One of the big things that cost Willie his job was the Kirk Herbstreit video that spiraled. Where he just has said how pathetic they were and they want to be tough and they're not. So it's like he's getting a pass on things that other coaches wouldn't. And that's frustrating. And then he can't walk into their office and say, hey, man, I know it's been bad the last 2 years, but check out these recruits I got coming in.
Yeah. And that's what saved Billy's job last year. Remember, like, Billy had a talented roster over at UF, and they had the promise of DJ Lagway, who I know he's fallen off a cliff, but everybody thought he would be pretty good this year. He was getting Heisman talk, and I think they went 5-0 once, or 5-1.
Yeah.
Once he took over as the starter. Yeah. Good finish, good recruiting classes. They had a lot of talent that was coming back. And so you kind of sold yourself, if you were UF, like, okay, well, next year's his year, right? I know it's not been good enough. It's not the standard, but next year's his year. Well, they got 5 games into this year, and they said, we ain't doing this no more. And it just feels like they take football a little bit more seriously. We're not losing games 34-31 in classic shootouts where we just can't find a way, right? Like, we're getting embarrassed on a weekly basis. Yes. And I know they beat Wake. Like, congratulations for beating one of the worst teams in the ACC's history. But we're getting embarrassed on a weekly basis, and the administration just doesn't. I mean, what is there to evaluate at the end of this season? Like, that's the thing. Like,
minus on the comprehensive test.
Yeah, they just don't seem to care. They just don't.
That's how it comes across to you too.
It comes across that way.
I felt insulted yesterday. And I'm not saying poor me. I'm just saying, as a fan and alumni, I just felt insulted. I just feel like, unless I see something, like, if an assistant had gone yesterday, I might have felt a little better.
And who do you fire, though? Who do you fire as an assistant? Because you can't fire. You can't fire.
I'm not saying just fire people just for the sake of it.
But like, if one of these two coordinators, like, these two coordinators were Mike's shot to stay.
It was his last shot.
Yeah. So if you fire one of them, you're basically admitting you hired the wrong guys and you need to go too. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, you're right. But at least they took a stand last year with him.
Yeah.
They're not doing that this year. Now,
And
maybe they're waiting.
maybe they do it in 3 weeks. And maybe we look back and say, hey, look, they got rid of him anyway. They wanted to let him finish out the season. I don't know, man. I don't know if there's a better, worse way to do it, but it feels like it should have already been done.
If you're waiting 3 weeks to save $6 million out of this much, then you're not taking football as seriously as Florida or LSU or these teams.
Yeah, and you're not even
saying 30 million. I would be like, dude, wait, let him wear the
They're not saving. They're not saving enough to matter over these next 3 weeks.
It's not
because he's not owed any money up front. Like his buyout drops at the end of the year just because you've been paying him. Like they pay him every month to coach, and so they're not saving any money by. It's asinine.
And here's my thing: is I talked about this with somebody else. I'm going to get your take on this. Is the whole narrative I don't like is it's a crowded coaching market.
Yeah,
guess what? That's a terrible narrative because that could be the case every year now.
Every single year, you look at the other programs that might not fire their coach this year, but they will next year. USC. Michigan, Oklahoma,
Tennessee,
Texas, Sark might go to the NFL, South Carolina, Tennessee. Like they're,
Dabo at some point leaving Clemson.
Yeah. Ole Miss and Missouri might open up because their coaches leave to go other places. Like it could be this crazy every.
Right. So if you need a new car, what do you say? It's just a bad year to buy a car and I'm going to drive.
Right. Yeah. No, if you need a car, you need a car.
You need a car. You need a car. You may not get the complete one you want, but you need one. It's a necessity. We need both.
You would be better off taking the risk. What are the chances a coach works out? Well, 50-50, right? They either do or they don't.
Yeah.
I know that it's 0% that Mike Norvell works out. Right. Like, so I'll take the 50-50.
Right. And anything's an upgrade. It's not like you have a good car and you say, well, I really like this better. And I keep using the car. I don't know why. I really like this better one, but it's just not worth the investment. And I'm happy with what I have. We're not happy with what we have.
Right.
So anything is an upgrade. That's what I guess I'm trying to get at. Everything is an upgrade. And it doesn't seem like they're doing that. I like I said, I mean, I do trust Peter Collins. I do trust these guys. But, man, I was saying, man, you wonder what the situation is because if and you were the first one that came out, TJ. I want to give you credit tonight. We beat Pitt, and you said they can do the buyout. You were the first one to say it can be done. It'll suck.
Yeah.
I'll let you qualify that. But it can be done. And I've had that stuck in my head since then. But let's say money is the issue. Then they're responsible for that in terms of their side. I don't count Peter Collins because he does what he does out of love. I'm talking about ADs, presidents. You entered an agreement you were not prepared to fulfill if it goes south. There's got to be some liability for that.
And there was at LSU. And look, Alfred's come on my show. Like he's always been nice to me. Like I'm not trying to call him out personally, but like, yeah, I mean,
and for the record, I'm sorry, TJ. I'm not trying to get TJ to say anything.
No,
doesn't need to say. I'm the disclaimer there.
These are jobs, and when you don't do your job, if I like Mike has been very nice to me every time I've ever met him or seen him. Like I there's this narrative of like, oh, Mike's such a good guy, and he might be. I don't know. I don't know him personally. Like, I don't know if he's a good guy or not. Like he wears the same color shirts as I do because we both really like want the same team to win on Saturday. But I don't know if Mike's a good guy or not. But I can't say every interaction I've ever had with him has been super positive, and he's been very nice to me. And so, yeah, I mean, like I think they're good guys, or they're nice to me at the very least. But like that's not really what I care about. You can be a jerk to me if you're winning games. Yeah, man. Like we're here to win games. And you're right about the buyout. Like, yeah, it sounded good to give Mike Norvell this ridiculous buyout so that you could lock him in and he can go anywhere else. But at the same time, you got to have a plan for that. And if I go tell my mortgage company, like, hey, I need to take 3 months off of paying my mortgage and I'm going to defer payments for 3 months, and they come back to me and they're like, all right, now with the cost of the mortgage and the fees for doing it, you owe us $7,000 and you got 15 days to pay it. If I tell them, Doc, I ain't got $7,000 to go pay you 3 months plus the fees plus the interest, You're gonna look at me and say, then get out of the house. Like you should have had a plan for what you deferred for later. It's the same exact analogy. You can, this $50 million buyout or whatever, 60 when it was signed, like it sounded good at the time. But like, did you have a plan to go get that money? Well,
Exactly.
you had money available because you spent hundreds of $1 million on renovating Doak, and you spent hundreds of $1 million opening up a football only facility. So like, you had money and you've been paying all these athletes and everything else.
Yep.
And I'm not saying they shouldn't have done any one of those three things, but you didn't. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? Like, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if they can't get it done because of money, that falls on the people that made the deal.
I agree.
And we saw that at LSU. That same AD signed Jimbo at A&M, and then Kelly and he's got $120 million tied up in buyouts. I mean, you got to be accountable for this.
Yeah, that's why, like, not to get political, but I agreed with the governor when it came to that, where he said, how can I trust someone who has $130 million in buyouts and has that agent as well?
Yeah,
to hire the next coach
for sure. I don't think you can.
Wrong. He's not wrong. Now, DeSantis doesn't.
It's other people's money. It's not like Florida State has $2 billion in the bank and can just go say, "Hey, we'll just write a little check for this. We'll move on." No, it's other people's money. They're literally making calls. Like after the Pittsburgh game, and then certainly more after the Stanford game, they were on the phones making calls, asking people for money.
Correct.
To buy him out. Like you're having to go beg people for money.
Yeah, I believe that, and I wonder how many people that was money they had earmarked to get out of the ACC.
Yeah, or for these projects that we're doing around or just whatever, man. Like, or just their own personal stuff. Like because they've already spent a bunch of money to help you with legal fees or renovations or football only facility. And they're like, dude, I just wrote you a $20 million check 2 years ago for the renovations. Now you're asking me for another 10 to get rid of to pay a guy not to coach? Like
to basically throw money down a drain.
Yeah.
I don't blame them for saying no, like enough's enough. They didn't get there in that position by throwing money away.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why I like that. ADs have been great over the years of spending other people's money. Essentially what they do. They spend the university's money. They spend the boosters' money. They'd be a lot more conscious if A, they were held responsible, and B, if it came out of their pocket, they'd be different.
If it came out of their budget.
Like the LSU situation, I want that to be a wake-up call to the other top schools saying, man, there should be some liability.
And they need to fix they need to fix they need to not, because buyouts aren't real until they are, right? You think about it, like Nick Saban had a massive buyout, like absurd. Well, Bama never had to pay it. So it was just imaginative. It wasn't real, right? Like
Disney,
but Nick Saban had an insane buyout because he was the greatest, but he never put Alabama in a position to need to use it. And so, buyouts they're fake, and ADs could make a person's buyout $200 million. Of course, they're going to sign it because that's security for them. But if the person never loses more than a game or two a year, you never have to pay that. It's
like monopoly money. It really is, because it's like a fictitious number that they really, it's just all on paper to them, especially when it's university's money. Not their
when
money.
you sign a coach say you sign a coach to $15 million a year, they'd be the highest paid coach in the sport right now. That is an actual thing that hits your bottom line. You have to pay him that $15 million a year because you ruin the contract. The buyouts are just fake. They're not real until they are, right? And then they, but like you can say a buyout's whatever you want. And that's just completely, I mean, you shouldn't be able to, honestly, you shouldn't be able to sign a buyout unless you have the money or at least a portion of the money to be able to pay it.
That's why the head coach and waiting thing is the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it was, well, okay, you're the head coach in waiting, but who's to say he doesn't leave and take another job? That's why the only way a head coach in waiting thing would make sense is if they said, okay, you're the head coach in waiting, and on this date, you actually take over.
Right. Yeah, here's your date.
Not whenever it happens. It's no different than any other. So that's why I hope this is, I think the LSU thing needs to be a wake-up call to other schools. And like I said, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes at Florida State. This group, whether we like them or not, they seem to be they do a very good job of keeping their cards close to the vest compared to the past where stuff got leaked out all the time. And that's fine. If that's how it works, it works. So I can only go off how it comes across to me and how I view it. But I understand there's stuff. There's probably 8 or 10 people that really know what's going on there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it might
if I had to guess,
it might be less than that, like I don't know who, like Alford and Collins and McCullough really talk to outside of, I'm sure their spouses and stuff, but like within the building,
within the building,
it might be less than that, I don't think anybody has a real good gauge on what's going to happen. I think people assume that they can't bring him back because they're probably going to lose 2 or 3 of these last couple of games, but I don't think anybody knows that beyond a shadow of a doubt. If say they beat Virginia Tech, so they get to 5-5, and then they split these last 2 games, and you go beat Florida in the Swamp or something like that. I'm not saying they bring him back, and I certainly don't think he deserves to come back at 6-6 or 7-5. I mean, he could have beat Clemson. I didn't think he deserved to come back at 8-4. But if they do that, they go beat Virginia Tech this weekend, win by 20, right? And then lose to NC State close, and then go beat Florida to make a bowl, and you beat your biggest rival, and you go 2-0 against the SEC. Like, I still think they fire him, but it wouldn't shock me if they brought him back. Like, it would not shock me at all. And that's a scary situation for Florida State to be in.
It's scary. And like, I would love to see the cost benefit analysis, because I think you lose a lot keeping him.
Oh, yeah. People talk about how they can't afford to fire him. And I agree. They probably don't have the money right now. Now, again, no money is due up front. You just pay him yearly based on what he was going to be making.
Yeah. And you can work out an agreement to make it feasible.
Probably get him to lower it a little bit.
Just get Jimmy Sexton to say, because I'm sure Jimmy Sexton will work with us in some ways because he wants Mike to land on his feet.
And you're going to hire one of his clients,
correct,
to back him up anyway.
Exactly.
But all that said, like it will cost them. People are saying, "Oh, the cost benefit analysis." Like, no, it will cost them more money to keep him, without a doubt, based on renewals, based on season ticket sales, based on booster donations. Like, it will cost them more than $10 million a year to keep him, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's why. Thank God they finished those projects for me.
For real.
Thank God.
Well, they're still paying the loans on that. I mean, some of that's finance. Like,
yeah, that's true.
They're still paying that off.
But they're always going to be in debt. The university. There's a different time where they won't be. So it's a case of, do you add to it? And I think in this case, you kind of
have to. Yeah,
you have
no option.
That's what I was saying yesterday. Yesterday might have upset me more than the text message that Alfred sent out to the people. And I like Mike Alfred. Like, I know. Yeah. I'm like I say, you're not paying them for their personality. Mike is the 2 or 3 times I've met him, super nice guy. Very approachable, more than the average Power 5 head coach. I give him credit for that. Alfred, too. That guy could sell ice to an Eskimo. He's that good when you talk to him. I remember jokingly, I said, "Oh, when's the standalone facility coming?" He gave me the date, the time, the everything. And this was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I've been impressed with him. It's just, you wonder if there's a power struggle. You wonder if there's something going on. Because this can divide people. When you talk about this much money. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to ask you, and listen, because I got to give you credit, man. And I'm not doing this show to do the TJ Pittinger like parade ceremony, but you do I'm just joking, but you do a great job, TJ.
I appreciate it.
No, it's truth. Before the year, I gave you credit. You and Brendan went on your show. You did a hot board.
Yeah.
Before the Bama game. I mean, that was ballsy. And I don't think we've talked about it since. But I'm not going to go into that hot board. But have you thought about it at all? Who you'd like? What direction you think they should go? And I know it's all semantics because he's still the coach.
Yeah, we talked hot board. I don't even really remember the names that were on that. We did talk John Summerall a little bit. I think we talked Jamie Chadwell at Liberty. I don't remember who else we talked. Maybe we mentioned Manny over at Duke. I don't remember who else. But like, we didn't know. Maybe we mentioned Lane, but I don't think we thought Lane would be available. Well, I mean, he's not available now, but we didn't know Franklin would be available. When we did this, we thought Penn State was going back to the playoff. So there are some different names. Yeah, it was. I tried to preface that with like, look, we're cheering for Florida State to do well, but if they don't, like, there's a very realistic scenario where they're not good enough. So I kind of forgot we did that video, and unfortunately, it has rung too true now because we are doing reports. Listen, I know the fan base is very split on this, but I think your best realistic option is probably James Franklin. Like, I would love Lane. I just don't think that's a realistic scenario because I think Florida and LSU can offer him more than you can. And I think coaching in the SEC is just so much more attractive than coaching in the ACC. Oh, yeah. Even if it's just for 2 or 3 or 4 years, until we leave the conference. I cannot. I mean, LSU, I love Florida State. I mean, you can see all of this stuff around me. I'm wearing the shirt right now, even though we're terrible. We have 3 Power 4 wins in 2 years. But I mean, LSU's a better job than Florida State. It just is.
Right now, Florida, LSU, and Penn State are, and Auburn's a tie.
Yeah, Auburn's
and seriously, for me to say Florida's a better job is one of the most.
It makes me sick, but I mean, Florida is. I mean, it's in the SEC. They have more resources. They just is. Now, I don't think it's better.
It is better there.
Yeah, I don't think. Say what?
geographically.
Yeah, for sure. You're a little closer. You have more fan support. It's an older alumni base and stuff. So like,
Attendance-wise, it's easier there.
yeah, I think I would lean forward. Now, I don't think they're a better program, but as far as job, like what it could offer a head coach, I would put it there. So, I mean, all that said, like,
you're not walking into the dumpster fire there that you are here. Billy's kind of left the roster decent there.
If they can retain it. So I think Lane would be way high, but I don't think he's realistic. So, I mean, it's Franklin to me. Like everybody else has too many questions. And I know people, oh, Franklin can't win the big game. I don't know, man. We ain't winning the small games right now. So give me a coach that's going to win 9-10 games a year. And if he doesn't work out after 6 years of winning us 9 or 10 games every season, then we part ways, right? We do the Mark Richt thing and say, all right, buddy, it was a good run. We won 70 games under you in 8 years. And that's better than
and Mark stabilized the program while he was there.
100%. He paved the way for a great coach in Kirby Smart to come on and take that program to a new level. And I'm not saying that the guy, we bring Franklin in so that we're, above average for several years. And then you would want Franklin to come in and compete for titles. He did a pretty good job at Penn State and won a lot of games at Vandy too that he wasn't supposed to win. So I don't think he's like the savior. I don't think he's coming in to lead us back to like Jimbo levels of success, or certainly not Bobby levels of success, but I think he's the best available realistic candidate that you could get. I don't hate the idea of some of the other options. I mean, do I think Manny Diaz could be good here? I mean, he's 5-1 in the ACC right now, and we have one ACC win in the last 400 days. So yeah, I mean, I think he could win more than Mike is, right? Like I think he would be an upgrade over Mike, but I think everybody would be an upgrade over Mike. The group of 5 route, I'm not in love with Alex Golish. I'm not in love with John Summerall. Do I think they both would do better than Mike is? Yes, I do. But those aren't my favorite options in the world. I don't hate the coordinator route. Like I don't hate Glenn Schumann or Brian Hartline or something like that. Like Steve Sarkisian was a coordinator. Dan Lanning was a coordinator. Ryan Day was a coordinator. Kirby Smart was a coordinator.
Official. That
can be very successful. Like I just mentioned, like the 4 best coaches in college football. Kalen DeBoer. You can do this, right? Like, but I don't know. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm in love with any one candidate out there, but Franklin would probably be at the top of my list because he's coached in the SEC. He's coached in the Big Ten. He understands how to run a program. He certainly will recruit very well in this day. I mean, he recruited about the same level that Mike did while he was in freaking Pennsylvania. And then you put him in the middle of Florida.
He did.
Yeah. Like you put him in the middle of Florida and right. I think he'll recruit,
What I like about Franklin is he has Southeast ties because of his Vanderbilt days.
Absolutely.
And doesn't have to go into high schools. Granted, South Florida is the type of place you need connections but he'll have
bring in a good staff. He knows how to hire a good staff. He went out and got the best defensive coordinator available in the offseason.
Correct.
In Jim Knowles. Like he'll bring in a great staff that'll recruit well.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have to go like Mike when he took over. And he had to introduce him, like they had to meet him and introduce himself.
Yeah.
They know who he is. He already has that established reputation walking in with the Florida State polo.
Yeah.
Which is nice. As far as coordinators, I like the Brian Hartline idea. I forgot about him. I like Glenn Schumann a lot. And I like Buster Faulkner at Georgia Tech. He's got Southeast ties. He runs a great offense. He can recruit. It's not, listen, 6 years ago, man, we actually thought about the press conference and who would win the press conference.
Oh, yeah.
Buzz in recruiting. I don't care about that now.
Not anymore, man. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
I was all fired up after Mike's press conference. I mean, I thought Willie's was terrible. His press conference was awful. But like Mike's press conference had me all fired up. I was like, yeah, this guy gets it. Yeah. And I just think in a lot of ways Mike gets it. I think Mike does some things extremely well, but the deficiencies are just too high. I also think that like whether you want to blame the snub or you want to blame COVID or you want to just blame whatever you want to blame, there are some legitimately good excuses for why we've been as bad as we are. But he lost any juice that he had. He lost. Like he lost the ability to be that guy that we saw in 22 and 23 and really even the end of 21. And once you lose that, it's just hard to get it back. I think Mike can be a good coach. I think he can be a good coach somewhere else. I just think he's lost it here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think sometimes at a certain place you just hit a wall.
Yeah, for sure.
You've done all you can do, good or bad, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's why coaches don't last forever. Most coaches don't last forever at jobs because and then you go somewhere and you're refreshed. And I think Mike, that would be good for Mike.
It would be good for both sides. Maybe he'll give us a discount because of that.
I think he should. Yeah, mental health. We're trying to help you. We take that seriously. But man,
we should give him like $2 to $5 million for his next, like whatever program he goes to. We'll donate that to their NIL.
We should.
Like we'll do, like we'll help you. You know, it's like a parting gift. You know, like a breakup gift.
Or we'll send someone to help you, like high school recruits, since you don't like doing that.
Yeah. You can have Tim Brewster. You can go take Tim Brewster
for a month.
Yeah.
In the trail.
Get him for 2 years.
Yeah, that's something. But those are the names I've heard. I'm sure. I mean, people forget, man. If Florida State actually opens up, names will come up that you didn't expect.
For sure. You can still pull guys from other programs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still, I understand that we've been a crap show, but it's still the Florida State brand and level of investment. Florida State, I mean, this makes it even worse that we've only won, 6 games in 2 years, but Florida State still spends top 15 money in this country. Not even just on NIL, like on the program. They are a top 15 spender in the country on athletics, on football. They're going to spend money and they're going to attract very good candidates. And if that's James Franklin, great. If that's one of the group of 5 guys, great, whatever. Like they're going to get a good candidate in.
And before I continue, I just want to shout out some people in the chat I didn't get to. King Lewis, shout out. Our buddy Chris Russo. This guy Matthew is a Georgia fan, apparently. And all the other people in the chat. Thank you so much. Sorry, I didn't get to your comments on here. Take that off. But so that's what I'm thinking. I'm with you there. I'm at the point now anything's an upgrade.
Yeah.
We're going to see what this is going to determine Alfred's time here, because I don't know how long he's looking to stay. You're hearing his name mentioned elsewhere. Maybe they're saying, if we don't trust you to stay here long term, we don't want you making the hire.
Yeah.
Who knows? There could be a lot of stuff going on. Everyone's like, oh, but he's done a good job with coaches. All right, he got Penske. That was nice. But a lot of people want to coach the women's soccer program at Florida State. And when you're a powerhouse, it's easier to track bigger names.
For sure. Yeah, I think he gets credit for, listen, I don't mean this to rub feathers the wrong way. He gets credit for Penske for sure. And I like Brian Penske a ton. He's been super solid, and I've spent a good amount of time around him.
Nice.
If he gets credit for Brian Penske, he also gets blamed for running off the best coach in the country at the same time. That to me, that kind of cancels itself out.
Yeah, I agree.
He did a great job replacing him, but he also ran off the best coach probably on
campus.
That is
true. And you walked into a powerhouse already established.
For sure. Yeah.
And then everyone's like, oh, but I like the Lincoln Luke Laux hires. And I'm like, well, what's the common denominator there?
Yeah.
2 former alumni who wanted to come back.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. This will determine it. My concern with Alfred was, and I was like, he might have been so focused on these projects where he's like, let me throw the kitchen sink at Mike, give him everything he needs, and I can just stay out of the way. Yeah. I'm not saying that's the case. That's how it comes across to me.
The one thing about Alfred I will give him some credit for is I think every other AD in the country would have done what Alfred did.
Yeah,
like, in our situation where the snub just happened and you just sued the ACC and you felt like Bama might be, who knows how real that really was or wasn't, but you felt like Bama, the team that literally kept you out of the playoffs, might be coming to take your coach. I think every other AD in the country would have done the same thing that Alfred did with Mike.
And I stand behind what he did as well.
And so obviously hindsight's 2020 on that. And we can look at it and say like, oh, it was a bad decision now. And he might still have to wear it for making that decision. But like, again, everybody else would have done that same thing. And so it's hard for me to fault him.
I was cheering at the time. So I'm not going to.
We all were like, oh, great job keeping him away from there. So we can't switch up. And I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying the fan.
No, I know what you mean. Revisionist history is amazing. Yeah. Just like people who forget how Jimbo left, a lot of his discrepancies, but they just can't get past 2010 to 2013.
Yeah. He wasn't on my hot board list, by the way.
Oh, God,
I left him off.
I'm glad you left him off. Because, man, that one irritated me. I'm not even going to get into that. It's just not even worth discussing, in my opinion. Off the air, whatever. But I'm glad you did that.
I will say this. Look, all right. He would be an upgrade over Mike. But I'm still not putting him on. Like, you would be an upgrade over Mike. Let's be honest. So that's not saying much.
Touche.
No, I didn't mean that against you. I'm just saying, like, me and you don't even coach, and we'd be an upgrade.
You're right. So. You're right. No, but when you're at that point, TJ, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
When you're at that, what are we doing here? Before we finish, what was your take on his press conference today?
So I literally just got a text from somebody like, have you watched the press conference yet? And I had just got off a live, so I haven't seen it yet. I read through some of the transcripts and I couldn't get the sense for it just literally moments before we got on here, but it is on my list to go chew it up. But I've gotten several messages that I need to go watch this. So anybody that hasn't seen it, go.
I recommend watching it today, and I'm sure it's one of these crazy things that you can be viewed in 4 to 5.
What was your biggest takeaway from it?
My first thing was this guy's delusional. Maybe he's been told he's staying, and then I'm listening to Jeff Cameron's show, and they were saying the same thing. Like, dude, I get that's all you can say. Like, he's saying we're competing for championships here.
Oh my gosh,
yeah, that was his big thing.
I was told Corey asked about the trajectory of how he feels they're going in 2026, and I haven't heard the answer yet because I haven't watched it. But I sent back the person that asked me that. I sent them back the when Magic Johnson goes like, I don't know, I'm not going to be here. Or whatever. that should have been the answer.
He did ask that. I didn't hear the answer either because it was just I heard the synopsis on the camera show. Yeah, and then somebody, to their credit, and I should have thought of this too. That's why I don't like to take credit. On the message, chat wrote that could be him auditioning for other jobs. Yeah, and I said,
you gotta project confidence.
You gotta, and you can't say
we read pretty far into these things, but like he's got to say all those things.
He's got to say that Jimmy Sexton is a master of how to present yourself for the next opportunity. Yeah, he did that well with Jimbo. James Franklin was a masterclass that day on College Game Day. Mm-hmm. Like, people don't realize, Jimmy is the best negotiator, but he's really good at the PR stuff for his.
Oh yeah, makes him look great.
Today was a PR. When that guy said that, I was like, ding, ding, ding. How could I have not thought of that? Like, I was so mad at myself for not thinking about that. But TJ, man, my friend, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I'm going to say your stuff. I'm going to say it. Double Fries, No Slaw. Him and Richie do a great job. TJ also does a great job of getting analysts from the other teams we play that week to talk. He does College Football Addiction with the guy I like from WWE.
Tom. Tom. Yeah, Tom's my guy. We just finished up today.
Yeah, he's great. They do a great show. I forgot the third guy. I'm so sorry. Cole. Great. They do a great show. I love to. I do that to supplement my stuff as well. So definitely keep up with TJ. He's not afraid to say the hard stuff, but he does it the right way. So, anything you want to say, TJ? Add anything or?
No, I just appreciate you having me on, man. It's always a good time. I feel like we all like the time literally flies when we get on here because we just end up talking football and it doesn't feel like an interview. It just feels like good conversation. And so I enjoy following your stuff and watching your stuff. And so thank you for letting me be part of it.
Likewise. And thank you so much. That's what I want, man. I want you to come on here and have a chat that we would do on the phone the same way.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. The thing is just recording, but like, this is exactly how we would talk the whole time. So I'm
exactly. All right, TJ, thank you so much for coming on. Check out TJ stuff. It's going to be in the description if you're not already following it. And man, congrats on your success, TJ.
Thank you very much.
Killing it, man. Fun. Happy for you, man. All right, take care, everyone. Go Noles, and man, let's get some resolution to this.
Go Noles.